You're welcome again. Let's start from Parliament because the minority has warned President Akufo-Addo's recent accusation against mining companies could spark agitations between the companies and their host communities. Nene Akufo-Addo, at the opening of the West Africa Mining Conference in Accra, blamed the companies for the low level of development in mining communities like Obuasi and Takwa after decades of gold mining. But speaking to Joy News, ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee, Adam Mutawakilu, described the president's comments as misplaced and ill-advised. Mr. Mutawakilu is demanding the NPP government accounts for the 3.6 billion cedis paid by mining communities companies to government.
It is the responsibility of the government to ensure that we drive maximum benefit. And what are some of the government benefit? Royalties, dividends, corporate tax, income tax, surface rentals, and sometimes windfall tax. For example, 2017, the amount that government realized from mining is $3.6 billion. So if government has realized $3.6 billion in 2017, then the president comes to blame the mining companies. I begin to wonder that he's shifting responsibilities to the mining companies. Because these mining companies in the agreement normally have trust fund. And every year, whatever is they are supposed to contribute, they do it. So I believe that the president is just shifting responsibility that he should take to the mining company. And that also goes to expose the mining company, because if the youth now think that it's the mining company that must provide roads, that must provide toilets, and that must provide all the development needs of the town, the likelihood that they will rise up against these mining companies is high. And I want to put it clear that the responsibility is not on the mining companies.
He's also urging government to review agreements with the mining companies if it wants them to take up development of the communities they operate in.
The companies work under the agreement. No mining company will go and agree what is supposed to do with the government, put that agreement aside and go and do whatever they want. They might have the tendency to veer, but that is why we have various agencies and regulatory bodies like the Mineral Commission. So I want to urge the president, this development agreement, if you want them to construct roads within the township, factor it in the agreement. So that when they don't do it, you tear the agreement. This is what we asked you to do, and you didn't do it. But we must know all those ones will become cost. So in all their sharing, they will take it off in their profit and loss accounts. And that will also affect corporate tax. So we shouldn't think that they will just do it for nothing. They will treat it as production cost. But if they can easily do it, I urge that. That is okay. It's better they do it than government get less in terms of corporate tax. Then government takes everything, put it in the consolidated fund, and nothing goes to the communities.
Meanwhile, the minority is demanding government explains the rationale behind this week's gas supply agreement between the Ghana government, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, and the Russia-based company Rosneft. Under the 12-year agreement, Rosneft is expected to deliver 250 million cubic feet of liquefied natural gas to the Tema port to be processed and conveyed to the GNPC's Tema metering station. This comes on the back of a similar agreement signed last year between the GNPC and Gazprom, also based in Russia. Mr. Mutawakilu wants more clarity on the two agreements.
The chairman of GNPC signed gas supply agreement with Rosneft, a company in Russia. Then I begin to think, on the 22nd of September 2017, GNPC announced that they had signed an agreement with Gazprom for the LNG supply. they had signed an agreement with Gazprom. The president subsequently praised that agreement. 9 months down the lane, what has happened to that agreement? That is the question we should ask. And they are now signing another agreement with Rosneft, or it also wants to turn to Gazprom. So want to put before GNPC, they should respond and brief Ghanaians, the good people of Ghana. They want to know the following. What is the status of the Gazprom agreement? Why going for Rosneft? Is it that apart from Gazprom agreement and West African Gas Limited will not be having enough gas, and as a result, they are signing this one? 2, if the Gazprom agreement is ineffective and they are going in for this, they should let us know. If it is that Gazprom has assigned its right to Rosneft, I don't think the method they have used is right.
Now, official classroom work has ended ahead of next week's commencement of the Basic Education Certificate examinations. 104,942 candidates will write the examination at 375 centers in the Ashanti region. Nana Yaojima has been gauging the mood of students 3 days to the start of the exercise.
At Berekum Basic School, closure of school was greeted with mixed reaction from students. Some were excited. For others, however, the thought of having to go through a week of rigorous tests weighs heavily on them. Candidates believe they are adequately prepared for the examination, but cannot be sure what is in store for them, especially for the core subjects.
It's the only tree that is difficult for me to write, but I can speak it well, but it's a little bit difficult. Science, science is many.
The subject I fear is English, and because of when you are writing, the pressure will make you spare some, will make you make mistakes. I'm expecting to get my first choice and get 6 ones. Kumasi High School.
Oh, I'm fully prepared. Oh, in fact, if I could be frank, I've covered all the syllables they have taught us. Yeah, I'm fully prepared. In fact,
school authorities are expectant of improved performance over previous times. They are optimistic extra classes sponsored by the Member of Parliament for the area has enhanced preparedness of candidates. The MP, Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, who has been visiting schools to encourage candidates, is optimistic of good results.
It's my desire that at the end of this academic year, when the results are in, we will be able to witness a better result than last year. We want to make progress. The goal is to make sure that it will get to a time that every school in the Berekum constituency will have 100% at the BECE examination. That is the focus that we are driving at. So for now, we have just begun.
Meanwhile, the West Africa Examination Council says all is set for the examination. Ashanti Regional Branch Controller Alex Bosompem assures measures are in place to prevent leakages.
No stationery that's supposed to go to the centers. We have sent all of them to the district education offices for the district exam officers to, take them to the centers. Question papers are ready, they are in place. Supervisors have been briefed. Invigilators have also been briefed. We've gone around to talk to some of the candidates in some of the schools. So far, everything is on course.
Nana Yaojima reporting.
So that was Nana Yaojima there, gauging the mood in the Ashanti region. Meanwhile, the Ghana Education Service says there's no cause for alarm, although many candidates sitting this year's BECE have not selected their senior high schools of choice. Prior to this year, candidates have the opportunity to select their schools months before sitting for the exams. But speaking to Joy News, Head of Public Relations of the Ghana Education Service, Cassandra Chum Ampofo, said there is a new policy guideline, hence the change.
We came out with a new policy guideline from the school select. As a result, we have changed the 2018 or the existing school register. We have regrouped the options previously into categories. We have introduced another, this time they have to choose 5 schools. And the number of schools to be chosen in each category has also changed. And so as a result of this new policy guidelines, WAEC needed to also design their software. You know, they choose the schools on WAEC platform or portal. So WAEC also needed to design their software to fit into this new policy. So work on this accounted for the delay. And that is why we are assuring our candidates that there is no cause for alarm. We have made that possible, and so we'll give them the opportunity to choose their school. They are working on the new guidelines with the BECE, and they are being in touch, ensuring that everything is set to normal. We are introducing a new guidelines, that is why, and we need to ensure that everything is done up right. That is why the delay. We are saying that right after they are starting on Monday, so we want them to focus, to be calm, and then they will be able to write their paper. We are saying that right after, from that Monday to a maximum of 3 weeks, we are expecting that all would be able to choose their school, and we are very hopeful that this will not delay any process, or this will not draw the academic calendar of the senior high school staff.
Meanwhile, ranking member on the Education Committee and MP for Akashi North, Peter Nochukote, is advocating an extension of the duration for the examination. The MP says the 1-week period has health implications for the candidates and is rather suggesting that candidates should write the exam within a 2-week period.
These are students or candidates very young, 15 years. Then they are made to write 4 papers in a day. That is 2 subjects. Each subject has 2 papers. And you can imagine the stress that they will go through. They finish the paper by 3 p.m. Even in some cases, the papers don't arrive early. So they finish around 4 p.m. They have to go back home and then prepare for 2 more subjects or 4 papers the next day. So by the 3rd day, some of them break down and they are not able to finish the examination. That's why I'm saying that even in the senior high school, you see it, they are given enough time, long period. Some even write the paper in a week, and they are able to finish at their age 15. And you subject them to that stress. It's not good.
So, Honorable, you think that the 1-week period for the exams clearly should be extended?
Exactly, to a minimum of 2 weeks, so that they can write a subject a day. So that within the 2 weeks, when they write subject a day, then they can finish in 2 weeks.
But have you thought about cost? Because the more they extend the days or the period for the examination, the additional cost they incur as an organization.
The health of the candidates, okay, and his ability to finish well, and the cost, which is more important. It's not the health of the candidate and his ability to pass. The child will be very good, prepare for the examination, but because he's made to go through that stress, he will not be able to perform very well. So additional cost should not be a challenge.
You're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Berekum. And still ahead, National Labour Commission compels striking medical laboratory scientists to get to the negotiation table with the Health Ministry after several botched meetings to resolve the impasse.
The National Labour Commission calls on the Association of Ghana Medical Laboratory Scientists to call off the strike action immediately as the Commission undertakes the compulsory arbitration process.
But the striking lab scientists say they are yet to receive any official communication from the National Labour Commission. We'll hear from them after the break. You're welcome back. Now, striking laboratory scientists in the country have refused to call off their week-old strike despite a directive by the National Labour Commission for them to go back to work. The Commission Friday ordered the Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists to call off their 5-day-old nationwide strike with immediate effect to pave way for a compulsory arbitration over their concerns on salary arrears and lack of a policy document, among others. The association had earlier expressed its readiness to negotiate with the ministry to reach an agreement which will lead to calling off of the nationwide strike. But all 4 attempts have failed after the group refused to meet with the special assistants or advisors of the substantive minister. At the instance of the health minister, the National Labour Commission has triggered a compulsory arbitration procedure under the Labour Act. Charity Emma Bartels was at the Labour Commission and spoke to the acting chairman of the commission, Rose Kakari.
I want to use your medium to appeal to the striking medical laboratory scientists that the matter is before the commission and they will need to call off the strike in accordance with the Labour Act. And the matters will be resolved at the commission. And we want to appeal to them that their matters are of concern to everyone because their service is an essential service. It involves, lives of people, and we want to settle this issue as soon as possible. And they should believe in the process of the commission, that the matters will be brought here and all the issues that they are calling for will be looked at independently and passionately, on case by case, and it will be resolved.
Failure for the latter to obey?
We don't want to go there. The law is clear. Call off the strike because it will be illegal once the matter has been placed before the commission, it will be illegal, so call it off. And if a strike is illegal, illegality means what? Your guess is as good as mine. So please call it off. I believe that we are all trying to find a solution to this issue. Let me remind you, it's an essential service. People may be dying. And the minister, looking at the way the issues are going, if we all heard the news, I think we heard that they were trying to get to sign a memorandum of understanding. But the way it was going, the minister realized that the MOU may not be signed because they are looking for something else. He wants them to, exercise patience for him to consider certain issues. And so in accordance with the law, this is the best place for them to come. So we resolve the issue. For the minister coming here, there's no problem with it because the issue must be resolved because they're an essential service. It's not like a normal service where you now have to wait for meetings to be held, today, tomorrow, next week, another meeting, and then the issue to be protracting. So I think it's in the right direction that the minister should come in. The minister could still even meet them if they want to still meet the minister. But we have triggered the compulsory arbitration. Okay. They are the same issue that we want to settle. So where they left off at the meetings, it will be brought here. And then we can settle it compulsorily. So that this issue of strike would have to be called off.
But the association has refused to call off the strike, saying it has not been officially received, or it has not officially received any directive from the commission. Dennis Idujesi is Public Relations Officer of the association.
We have not received any communication, as I checked from the Secretariat.
No communication whatsoever?
Not that I know of, and not that the Secretary also communicated. Once that communication gets to us, we will definitely give it to our lawyers and heed to whatever advice he gives. But as far as the communication is concerned, a press release that we have been informed of circulating on social media, it wouldn't be in our best interest to act with it. We just have to see the communication to us, and we can act upon that. For us, we've expressed our disappointment in the way the issues have been handled, and the Labour Commission coming in, I must say, we will respect the law, but seriously, nobody should think that that is going to coerce us. We wouldn't be scared of whatever they are coming on board to do. We just expect that the necessary arbitration as they are bringing on board will work. But as I said, once we get the communication, we will respond accordingly. We wouldn't be people that wouldn't want to respect the law. We are not just like any other that probably in the midst of this strike, we have seen several breaches of the law. People who are asking others who are not qualified to work.
Meanwhile, MP for Kumbungu Ras Mubarak has described as shocking the Health Ministry's failure to disregard concerns raised by the lab scientists. The MP is questioning why the minister has declined to adopt a draft MOU which seeks to end the strike. Speaking to Joy News, Mr. Mubarak hinted he will call for the resignation of the health minister if lives are lost as a result of the strike.
Well, this is completely intolerable. It is a crisis, and the Ministry of Health would have to stop everything it is doing to deal with these issues. If people are dying as a result of the strike action, they have to do everything to get the striking technicians to call off the strike.
Would the ministry be justified by saying that because they lack the resources, the funds are not there?
But
that is why the minister has failed to meet them.
You have one department that is the largest generator of revenue, the biggest in the medical sector. And you would say that if they have concerns, you wouldn't look into those concerns. It is shocking. The Ajman Menu I know of old, when they were at the other side, when they were in opposition, would push and fight and get things done. And I'm so surprised that now that he's at the other side, things are not as quick as he championed when he was in opposition. And I think that he ought to take them seriously. Now we are hearing unconfirmed reports of deaths resulting from the strike. I would say, without a shadow of doubt, that if there are any deaths recorded across the country as a result of this strike, the blame should be laid squarely at the doorstep of the minister.
And you want to call?
I would want to see if the reports of deaths are confirmed. And indeed, if they are, then clearly he's got serious issues and questions to answer. And he can't absorb himself from blame if it so happens that people die as a result of the strike action.
This is Joy News Prime with me, Berekum. Since still ahead, the Justice for All program at the Obuasi prisons discharges 2 murder suspects who've been on remand since 2014.
I am very happy. I had lost all hope. All we did was to pray while in prison.
We're taking a short break. Business is up next.
Hello again, good evening to you and welcome to Business. Gold production for 2017 has recorded a marginal decline as compared with the rate recorded in the previous year. According to data from the Minerals Commission, production dropped from 4.24 million ounces in 2016 to 4.22 million ounces in 2017, largely due to developments in small-scale mining sector. Justifying the reason for the decline, Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Suleiman Koni, noted the mining industry is poised to continue paying the right regulatory fees to ensure that it contributes to the development of the nation. He made a remark when addressing members of the chamber at the 90th Annual General Meeting in Accra.
It is without doubt that the year 2017 was particularly fraught with challenges for the mining industry. These were engendered by a combination of domestic and global policy developments as well as operational issues. Against the background of the ever-changing operational environments, the Chamber and its members tailor their activities to keep pace with the development aspirations of government, community members, and non-state actors whilst guaranteeing optimal returns to the investor community. Such initiatives, which among others took the form of engagements with duty bearers, civil society organizations, and academics, promotion of manufacturing opportunities, research, and social intervention projects were instrumental in the continuous effort to deepen the minerals sector into the non-mineral economy. In the ensuing sections, we will provide a summary of the various activities undertaken by the Chamber in 2017.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has called for the need to improve revenue mobilization as a way to improve the nation's assets. He was speaking at the Africa Sovereign Wealth Fund Summit in Accra.
The summit brought together development professionals and players in the sovereign wealth fund space to dialogue on ways to build Africa's relevant funds. Representatives from countries such as Nigeria, Rwanda and Singapore were present. In a keynote address, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia highlighted the need for revenue mobilization and how critical it is to improve Ghana's assets.
God has endowed Africa with a lot of natural resources. Underneath that land is a lot of natural resources. As we know, having the natural resources sometimes can be a curse. That is, the literature is quite clear on that. But it can also be an opportunity if you use it well. But we, as African countries, have to be able to leverage the national resources in a new way to finance our development.
He also assured that the Ghana National Asset Management Company will be established later this year to help create necessary wealth out of the nation's resources.
We are putting together what we call the Ghana Asset Management Corporation. For the first time in our history, we are forming this Ghana Asset Management Corporation, which is going to be called GAMCORP. The Ghana Asset Management Corporation will be backed by law. It will manage essentially all government assets in the country. It's a huge amount of government assets in a portfolio, and you'll be able to leverage these assets to raise additional finance.
The theme for this year's summit was Financing Africa's Transformation, the Role of Sovereign Wealth Funds.
The Ministry of Trade is worried women's access to finance is limited compared with their male counterparts. At the World Economic Forum held in Russia, it was estimated the economic gap between men and women can be closed in 217 years. The ministry is therefore advocating reforms in trade laws from gender perspectives. Executive Director of the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, NBSSI, Kosi Yankee, told Joy Business there's an urgent need for dialogue on gender-sensitive trade laws and regulations.
The National Board for Small-Scale Industries in 2017 sampled 70,000 small-scale businesses across the country and offered them varied support. While some received training, others got financial support to scale up their businesses. The NBSSI, which is mandated by law to be the lead government organization to promote medium and small-scale businesses, observed out of a lot, women formed 60%. Executive Director of the NBSSI said majority of women could not scale up their businesses because they lack access to finance. Additionally, they did not have collateral to be able to obtain loans from the bank, while others could not distinguish between business and family. Kosi Yankee told Joy Business there is an urgent need to begin a conversation on gender-sensitive trade laws and regulations, hence the need for the Gender Summit slated for the 4th and 5th of June.
Africa, Ghana actually has the most women entrepreneurs, right? If not even the whole world, but for Africa, we had the highest number of women entrepreneurs. And those numbers are true, but the question, based on what we see and the work we do on the ground, but you have so many, but where are the businesses? How do you intentionally put in the effort to graduate or grow those businesses, right? And in a lot of countries, it falls on the public sector, which is government entities such as NBSSI, to provide the support. Is it research they need to even develop their products better? Is it the quality of the products? You know, especially since a lot of the women entrepreneurs we work with work in the agribusiness sector or the cosmetics sector, and a lot of that is also in a very regulated environment, which is you need for certification from Standards Authority, Food and Drugs Board. So there's some element of how do we bring in the right support for research for them to develop better quality products, to be able to access more markets and better markets. How do they expand within their homes or within the communities that they are.
She said the NBSSI needed a lot of government support to improve activities for the SME sector of the economy. In 2016, the institution obtained only 19,000 cedis for its activities. The value increased to 600,000 last year, which afforded support for some 70,000 businesses.
I know it's in excess of the millions, right? I can't give you an exact figure as of this year, because over the years we've been giving out a lot of funding, be it in small funds for them to start their businesses or to grow their businesses. We have done a lot of that. We've also facilitated access to a lot of funding for women, generally not through our institution, but through other financial institutions. So we've been able to access funding in excess of millions. The problem is it enough?
Women form the majority of the informal sector in Ghana. This lays credence to some statistics from the World Economic Forum that 26% of men in the world have access to regular salaries, while women just form 9% of the population.
And transport fares are expected to go up by 10% from Monday, according to a statement jointly signed by the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, and the Ghana Road Transport Road Coordinating Council. The adjustment would affect all categories of transport operators in the country. There's more in the following report.
The review is coming after some engagement with government over the past weeks. This was after all the factors that influence transport fares witnessed some marginal increase over the past month. According to the GPLTU and the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, the adjustment would affect intra-city trotro, intercity long-distance and shared taxis. The unions argued that they were wishing for a 15% increase, but they said that they, however, accepted this proposal due to the current development in the economy. The unions have also argued that government has assured the transport operators that it will continue with efforts to prevent a steep rise in input costs for the drivers. The various driver unions are also being advised to comply with the agreed fares and avoid any confrontation with the public. So, for instance, if you are paying 1 cedis per 11-kilometer ride, you'll be paying 1 cedi 10 pesos.
And that's all we have for you by way of business tonight. Many thanks for watching. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Enjoy the weekend.
Now, the country's mobile network operators have raised privacy concerns about the plan by government to verify the revenues they report for tax purposes. The telcos, in a statement released by the Ghana Chamber of Telecoms, say although they are not against monitoring of their revenues, they are not convinced that their customers' data could be adequately safeguarded by the company contracted by government, that's Kelny GVG. The statement, signed by Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Kenneth Ashigbe, stated the telcos are also not convinced that the current architecture to be used for the monitoring does not conform to the law. The statement reads, as a law-abiding industry, we only seek that the monitoring conducted through the common platform should be done according to the very law that empowers the NCA and GRA to monitor us. Our informed position is that the current architecture from the NCA and the Kelny GVG does not conform to these design standards. The architecture does not provide our customers the privacy of their communication that the Constitution guarantees them. We are of the firm belief that continued collaboration between our technical teams and that of the NCA can resolve the difficulties that currently exist. Indeed, we have, as an industry, submitted alternative designs for consideration to the NCA and Ministry of Communication in good faith for consideration. The present challenges are as follows. A. The current architecture seeks to connect beyond the equivalent point in the network where the network providers' billing systems are connected. And B, the monitoring mechanism has the capability to actively or passively record, monitor, or tap into the content of any incoming or outgoing electronic communications traffic, such as voice. The proposed connection point will risk exposing content of voice traffic. The voice transaction dump for the revenue assurance tool should be enough without risking individual customer privacy. We are minded that the law does not talk about intent, but capability, which has the current architecture processes. The statement from the Telecoms Chamber comes a day after the Communications Minister appeared in Parliament threatening severe sanctions for mobile network operators who fail to comply by June 11 deadline. The Deputy Minister, in a reaction to the statement from the Telecoms Chamber, has downplayed the privacy concerns. George Anda spoke on Joy FM's Super Morning Show on Friday.
We are not interested in monitoring the content of the transmission. We are doing this purely for signaling purposes for the specific scope of the project. And more importantly, there is a law in Ghana that says that the privacy of citizens must be respected. We have a situation where the law is even stronger now. Okay, because we have gone ahead and we've made sure that the National Communications Authority have put in place 3 certified data protection practitioners. Some of the telcos may not even have these data protection practitioners. We have taken every necessary step within the law to make sure that they are extremely comfortable and to make sure that the privacy of their subscribers' database is not compromised. As far as the signals that are being transmitted are concerned, even the numbers, the mobile phone numbers that are being transmitted, these numbers are maxed. So, and the system hasn't got access to the database of the subscribers that the telco has. So it's going to be impossible for us to determine that it is Daniel who's making this call to George at this point in time. All we are saying is that there's a number A that's making a call to a number B. Okay, now this is the duration of the call. And this, if you look at the various tariffs across that period that the call was initiated and terminated, okay, this is the amount of revenue, okay, that should accrue to government. Okay, similarly, the data activity, then we do those analysis because it's an extremely complicated algorithm for us to be able to determine.
Now joining us via Skype is Chief Executive of the Telecoms Chamber, Kenneth Ishibe. Good evening, sir. Many thanks for joining us on Joy News Prime.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for asking. So can we deduce from your statement that because you are unconvinced that the current monitoring infrastructure does not conform to law, the telcos will not grant access to Kelny GVG, the monitor?
No, you see, if you read our statement talks about the fact that we're pretty sure that we can work with the NCA to be able to get to a point where you and our customer data is not compromised. You see, the important thing to note in all of this, and that's our focus, is the fact that there's a law that mandates the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Communication, their agents, GRA and NCA, to do this for revenue monitoring. And it's the CST amendment law is very clear in terms of the fact that that has to be done. And it gives the power to the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Communication. So for us to give access at equivalent points to where our operators' billing nodes are. And we believe that the spirit of that framing of that law was to protect you and our data. And you see, when Mr. Georgianda speaks, he talks about the fact that they are not interested, and there are some things that they are interested in, and that's very good, you know. And we believe that yes, they might not be interested in that, but what the law seeks to do is not to provide a framework for angels, you know, because we might have Honorable Georgianda, Honorable Asla, we have the DG Jude there, but the law was not made for only that. The law was to protect you and our data. Where they are connecting, the signaling points that they are connecting, yes, you know, so somebody is going to mask and unmask. Who is going to do that? The person who masks, the same person can unmask. You know, at that location, you'll be able to get access to SMS content if you have the tool to be able to decode it. You'll be able to get subscriber locations. Forwarded numbers will be available. You know, so what we're talking about is the fact that that capability exists. So it is not to say that they have the intent or they are interested in doing that.
But Mr. Ashibe,
you might have all...
Mr. Ashibe,
yes.
Well, government, I mean, the minister has insisted that Kelny GVG will be undertaking this particular operation. You have stated that the architecture that Kelny GVG has does not provide your customers the privacy of their communication. So I ask again, are you going to cooperate with the monitor chosen by government?
We will definitely cooperate according to the laws of this nation, what the law says, because it is our obligation, one, to cooperate. It's also our obligation to protect what the law has talked about. So, yes, would we cooperate for the connection to be made at the point where, as the law says, if you read section 4A, where it talks about the fact that the monitoring mechanism in subsection 4A shall not have the capability, we would make sure that we conform and working with it. And that's why I get back to you that if you read our statement, it talks about the fact that we would engage and we continue to engage. The engagement has been going on. Even yesterday, there was an engagement with the NTA. Today, we had a meeting where we looked at the architecture that they had proposed, and we're looking at it. These are two sets of engineers. We should be able to meet to ensure that we obey the law and to the full. We don't choose and pick part of the law, but we ensure that we can get the government to connect and do the revenue assurance bit, and then also ensure that you and our data are also protected. So
very well. You make the point about complying. If the monitor does not conform to what you are saying should be, in conformity with the law, are you going to comply?
No. So do you? I think you can answer that question. Do you think that we should comply with something that does not conform to the law?
No, I'm asking whether the chamber will comply.
The question I'm asking you is that we definitely would, and we believe that. That's what I'm saying to you, that in our engagement, we definitely believe that the NTA is a law-abiding organization. They want to do revenue monitoring.
Okay.
And and the same laws that they seek for us to do, we need to ensure that we can do it. So how do we do it in such a way that all the items that Honorable Judge Anda asked that they were going to get, they are able to get it, and still ensure that we meet the requirements as stated in the law on making sure that you and our data is protected? That we will do. The interesting thing is that if you look into Ghana, in Ghana, it's not only data that is even protected, but even metadata itself. The data protection law, and it guarantees that that also has to be protected. And all of that is part of privacy. So we will work with the NCA to ensure that we can get to a point where you and our data is protected.
Right. Mr. Ashibe, I mean, yesterday the minister said some of the operators are already complying. In fact, she mentioned Vodafone and I believe Glo as well. So why is the chamber holding out?
Oh, you see, the conversation that has been happening with Vodafone, Glo is not a member of the chamber, so we can't speak for Glo. But the conversation that has been happening with Vodafone, it's the same conversation that the members of the rest of the members of the chamber have. So it's not different from what the positions that Vodafone has and the rest of us. Our concerns, is not the fact that we don't want to connect. So in today's meeting, in the meeting we had a technical team from Vodafone and the technical team from MTN and the technical team from Telco all sitting around the table looking at the architecture that has been given, and the engagements would continue with all these members so that we can come up with a solution that would ensure that everybody, the whole law is complied with.
Now, the minister has given you 10 days to comply or work with the monitor. What do you make of her threat to sanction telcos who fail to comply?
Well, you see, the minister was quoting the law, and so one of the same law says this is what gives the minister the same power, and the same laws also provides the guarantee for you and I, the privacy of our data. So we are all working within the law. Once we all work within the remit of that law, we're pretty sure that we would, as law-abiding citizens, be able to get to a solution. The point has to be made that we are not against the law, and we are very law-abiding. And our reasons for all of this that we are doing is just because we don't believe that anybody else has it's above the law. All of us are subject to the law. So how do we all work together to ensure that we deliver on what it is that has been said?
Very well. Many thanks for your time. That's Kenneth Ashibe. He's Chief Executive of the Telecoms Chamber. You're watching Joy News Prime. Now, imagine being locked up in jail for 4 years, all because a letter by state authorities securing your freedom is lost. That was the predicament of two men, Ohene Kwame Kennedy and Akwesi Abdullahi, charged with murder in 2014 until today, Friday, when the Justice for All program discharged them. The two were arrested for murdering a 3-year-old child in Obuasi. They had been on remand without trial because a letter sent to the police by the Attorney General's Department for investigators to discontinue the case because of lack of evidence never got to its destination. There's more in this report.
I am very happy. I had lost all hope. All we did was to pray while in prison. And by the grace of God, we are out today.
Head of the NGO given the franchise by the Judicial Service to coordinate the Justice for All program, Jonathan Owusu tells Joy News he is happy the two have been released.
The new warrant suggested that they've been in prison for 2 years. So, under the charge of murder, you don't qualify under this program. But when we did our further investigations, even went to the extent of speaking to the police CID who was not present, we realized that they've been there since 2014 and they did not stand trial. And we think that is a complete violation against their human rights. And that is the reason why the program Justice for All was set up. And for that matter, we indeed include them into the program. And today their cases were heard.
A total of 38 remand prisoners appeared before the Justice for All team in the Obuasi prison. Chairman of the program, Justice Clemens Honyanuga, says 5 remand prisoners were discharged.
This is the first time that the Justice for All program was held here in the Obuasi local prison. And we must say that it was quite a success. 5 inmates were discharged, 3 were convicted and bonded, 2 were convicted and imprisoned, 16 were granted bail, 10 applications for bail were refused. 1 application was struck out because the applicant had been earlier granted bail, and then 1 was referred for psychiatric treatment. Those discharged would leave the prison today. And those granted bail, fortunately, some of them have their relations around who signed the bail bonds for them to go. And those who couldn't have anybody to stand surety for them today would have to see the registrar of the High Court to have it done for them.
Deputy Judicial Secretary Samuel Boachi Yadom is pleased with the performance of the program and the relief offered to those locked and forgotten. Says Kwame Boateng's report for Joy News.
Now, Information Minister Mustafa Hamid says a joint government and University of Ghana board will manage the institution's new medical center, the UGMC. However, the facility, like any other government-owned research entity in the country, will enjoy autonomy and government will not in any way interfere with decisions there. Speaking on the Super Morning Show on Friday, Mustafa Hamid said the facility will be managed by a board.
Member government is the one that is going to pay for the loan that has been contracted to put up this facility, $184,740,000 United States dollars. So no government is going to pay such a money and allow a facility that was done with this money to go to rot. No, it won't happen. But it is also important that we don't play to the gallery, play politics with a facility like that and just say, hooray, we've opened a medical facility and we've opened a research center, when in essence, doesn't do the things that it is purporting to do. And so that's the reason we've been taking our time to ensure that we are up to scratch.
When patients are walking into UGMC after mid-July, as you mentioned here, who would be managing the facility?
or it will be managed by a board that will be set up, as I have said, whose constituent membership would be made up of people nominated or appointed by the University of Ghana, and also representation from the Ministry of Health, as government. So it will be a joint government University of Ghana Management Board.
Mr. Hamid also revealed government is putting the right systems in place to operationalize the facility.
Between now and the middle of July, the interim board that has been set up, which is chaired by one Dr. Anifia Samoaba, is supposed to, one, regularize staffing processes, make sure that all the critical staff that are required for the running of the hospital are in place, not just through advertisements and mass recruitment, but also headhunting, if you want, specialist professionals in various places that may be required to give this facility the top-notch status that it is meant to have. Number two, also determine other logistical needs for a smooth operation of the facility. Number three, also generally ensure that all the other equipment that are needed to be installed in order to bring it to full capacity are all installed and so on. And then also in that interim period, a more permanent board and a more, if you want, structured management board will be set in place, so that at the operations, at the time that it is fully operational, this interim board can hand over to a more permanent management board. So between now and July is basically the processes that will ensure that once this facility is fully operational, it is operational in the real sense of the word.
And now, on to our series on the road to the National Science and Maths Quiz. And today we take you to the Bunahafu region. Schools in the region have been underdogs when it comes to the national competition. For the past 25 years, no single school from that region made it to the finals. So, at the regional contest in Sunyani, the Regional Directorate of Education set a target for qualified schools. Nothing more than a place in the finals. Here's a report by correspondent Nesta Kafui Ajoma.
This year's qualifying series of the National Science and Maths Quiz kicked off with the sound of the timekeeper's bell, followed by massive cheers from the competing schools. For the first-timers, such as Krobo Community Senior High School, it was a dream come true. It was not surprising for Doma SHS, St. James Seminary SHS, Chinyamanfo SHTS, and the host Sunyani SHS to take the lead from the first to the last round. Notre Dame Girls SHS topped the group with 35 points, whilst Wenchi Methodist SHS came second with 26 points, and the celebration had begun. However, it was intriguing to hear some schools score negative points during the competition.
Kwatun and Kuma Senior High School came fifth with -4 points. Jema Senior High School came fourth with -2 points.
Brong Ahafo Regional Director of Education, Dr. Peter Atefua, charged them to step up their preparations towards the national competition. Contestants from Nafana Senior High School spoke with Joy News.
The probability that we could win for us was not very high, but through God, we decided to win. We are going to increase the effort and then make things. We are going to make Nafana proud, and the whole of Daman proud, the whole of the world proud.
Nesta Kofi Ajuma reporting from Sunyani.
We stay in this Bono-Ahafo region because a group calling itself Berekum Youth for Accountability and Development has accused municipal authorities there of failing to address the poor road network despite constant appeals. Angry members of the group say the dilapidated roads often leaves their vehicles in a state of disrepair. The group insists it will continue to mount pressure on local authorities to get the roads fixed.
According to the youth group, most of the Berekum town roads have not seen any renovation for decades. The most notable amongst them is the road leading to the main lorry station. The state of this road has been a source of worry for drivers here because their vehicles often break down. Stephen Opoku is a driver.
I'm a taxi driver of Berekum.
The situation is frustrating. As a result, we haven't paid money to the municipal assembly. The municipal chief executive promised to fix the bad roads. We have everything in Berekum, light, water, but can't boast of good roads. The president must get involved because we are tired.
Several times. So the first version, the first year of mine, in the first speech of mine, said,
the situation around the Berekum Golden City Stadium is not different. Portions of the tarred road have developed huge potholes, making movements very difficult for motorists. Parts of the road leading to Berekum Holy Family Hospital have also eroded. Secretary of Berekum Youth for Accountability and Development, Patrick Cherma, says the Hitheto Golden City is now described as Pothole City by many. He called on appropriate authorities to step up in fixing the roads to enhance smooth transportation in Berekum.
Indeed, we have a bad road network. Looking at the status of Berekum as a municipal and looking at the road network we have currently in our municipality, I can boldly tell you Berekum is faced with challenges concerning our road, which is affecting motorists and other people's work. And we call on the MCE, the MPs and the government as early as possible to do all these things for the people of Berekum, for Berekum to gain its original glory as the golden city of Berekum. If they put an adamant yes, that means I'm going to organize my boys. We will have a lot of demonstrations in town, and we are going to also block a lot of roads, which will lead to the principal street of Berekum. We will block a lot of roads.
Meanwhile, Joy News has learned that some officials from the Berekum Municipal Assembly visited the wobbly stretch toward the main road lorry station after the news team left the scene. Nesta Kofi Ajuma reports.
Now, a 50-year-old widow and her 3 children in the northern regional capital, Tamale, have been compelled to take shelter in a public toilet cubicle. The reason? Ima Aishetu's home was razed to the ground 2 years ago after a rainstorm. The widow, who is the late wife of the chief of the community, says she's been left destitute after her late husband's son sold lands bequeathed to her and her children. Joy News' Hashmin Mohammed visited Sanzirigu farming community where the widow lives and has come through with this report.
My mother was a traditional woman, and we were roaming about treating people. When we were treating people, and we came to live in this town, and then she became weak. And when she became weak, I became the wife of this town chief, late chief. And today, if you don't have money in your hand, nobody knows you.
This is Umma Aishatu narrating circumstances that led her and her 3 children to seek shelter in the cubicle of the community public toilet. When Umaishetu migrated with her mother decades ago to settle at Zanzirigu in the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly, she got married to the late chief of the community, Na Ishaku, as a second wife. As a wife of a chief, she had high hopes for her marriage and family. Her husband unfortunately passed away, leaving her with the burden of bringing up the children.
And today, if you don't have money in your hand, nobody knows you. When you send your problem to meet someone, because you don't have money, the person says he doesn't know you. I've given all my problems to God. Anyone who has pity on me and come and solve my problem for me, God will bless that person.
Maishatu says her husband allocated some plots of land for her and the children before he died, but the elder son of the late chief sold all the lands, leaving her with nothing.
All the piece of land my husband gave the children, the brothers have sold all. Even the animals self, they have not given none of the children. We were having tractor. And corn cell too was there. They didn't give some to my children. They've taken everything. Because they are too small and their father died.
The situation of Umaishatu is having negative effects on her children's health and education. Their teacher Ishaku Tanko explains the situation to Joy News.
I realized that she wasn't writing in class. So I asked her, why are you not writing? Anytime I give exercise, you'll be sitting down. Then she told me that she hasn't got books. I asked her, why? Why are your books? Then she told me that the mother has taken all the books and that she's using it for her toilet business.
Until help comes for Umaishatu and her children, they will continue to live in this cubicle under severe unhygienic conditions. Hashmin Mohammed's report for Joy News.
Here are the headlines at the top of the hour. National Labour Commission compels striking medical laboratory scientists to get to the negotiation table with the Health Ministry after several botched meetings to resolve the impasse. But the striking lab scientists say they are yet to receive any official communication from the Labour Commission. Mobile network operators raise privacy concerns over plans by government to verify their revenue for tax purposes. We heard from the Chief Executive of the Telecoms Chamber. Also, the Ghana Education Service says there is no cause for alarm, although many candidates sitting this year's Basic Education Certificate examination are yet to select their senior high schools of choice, contrary to the norm. Meanwhile, candidates across the country prepare for the exams expected to start on Monday, June 4th. In business, Ghana's gold production for 2017 records marginal decline due to some developments in the small-scale mining sector.